If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Brian Kelleher on the show for the first time. Not only are we going to discuss his upcoming fight with Ode Osbourne at UFC 246 on January 18th, but we're going to talk and preview a bit of UFC 245 coming up on Saturday as well in Las Vegas. Brian, we finally made this happen.
Boom, baby. Thank you. Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk some fighting and my fight and, of course, the UFC 245.
Absolutely. Before we get going, I got to do a little something here. I had to rock my new Christmas shirt, courtesy of our friends at 21threads.com. This is one of my favorite shirts of all time, especially with me being a longtime Mark of The Rock. Normally, I dress a little more professionally, Brian. I know you've watched a couple of my interviews, but I had to show this thing off. What do you think of the new threads here?
It's beautiful, man. 'Tis the season.
Absolutely. So let's start with January 18th because it's going to be a little over a year between fights for you. You were supposed to fight at that Ottawa card in May, but you had to withdraw from that fight due to injury. So how are you feeling now as we're a little over a month away from this fight?
I feel great, man. I think it was a good amount of time for me to reset. I think, a lot of people don't talk about the truth of how they feel sometimes. And I think that Lineker knockout took a toll on me. That was the first time that happened to me in my career. So I had to reset and rebound from that. And I just don't think I had enough time going into that Montel Jackson fight to feel back to myself again. And now I finally feel there. I could see that fire back in the gym when I'm sparring. And the mindset is completely switched. The aggression is back and the focus is back. So I'm in a good place.
You know that old cliche, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Does it feel like it's been that way for you after this year? You could sort of reflect and evolve and improve and take that time to your advantage?
Yeah, exactly. I think the time has been a benefit for me. Some would say that it's a disadvantage, but for me, I'm in the gym every day, twice a day. I know I've had a lot of fights, 19 and 10, 29 pro fights. So I've been in the cage plenty of times. I know how to fight. It's just about getting my mindset right, getting excited again about performing and going in there and doing it.
Has this been a strange year for you overall? I mean, this is the first time I think in your entire career that you've gone an entire calendar year without a fight. Like, what has this year been like for you in that aspect?
It's been weird for sure because I like to stay active personally, but I think facing that knockout and that mental block that I was having, I feel like it was only good for me. I feel like because I knew personally I wasn't able to perform to the best of my ability. Unfortunately, I was supposed to fight Mitch Gagnon. I got injured. I had to pull out of that fight, which at that point I was pretty much ready to go. But that set me back a little. It gave me enough time to improve my game and to find myself more as a fighter. And now I'm just really excited to get back in there. And it's been a while since I felt like this excited.
Like you mentioned, your last fight was against Montel Jackson. Montel's one of those guys that a lot of people are talking about that's going to be a guy to shoot up the bantamweight rankings rather quickly. Now you get his teammate in Ode Osbourne, who makes his UFC debut coming off of his really impressive performance in the Contender Series. What did you think of the matchup when it was offered to you? And did you even care at the end of the day who was on the other side there?
No, honestly, that's it. You hit the nail on the head. I really didn't care because, in my opinion, like no matter who I fight, I gotta go put on a statement. The truth is, this is the last fight on my deal. I'm coming off 2 losses. I think the UFC likes me. They like how I fight. They like my style, but you got to keep that up. You got to stay consistent. So I think the injury and the loss to Montel kind of hurt me as far as their perception of me. But now, I have an exciting opponent across the cage for me. He's debuting. I have experience on my side, but I'm going to go in there like I had never fought in the UFC, and this is my debut as well.
I know opposed to like 2 years ago, 3 years ago maybe, when fighters are on the last fights of their deal, they're hoping to talk to the UFC, get some things worked out ahead of the fight. Are you hoping that happens, or are you willing to really bet on yourself here, fight this thing out, and then just see where it goes?
I honestly don't think I have a choice. My manager, we've been in touch, and it seems as if like that boat has passed, and it's just let's get this win and we'll go from there. I feel like they're not re-signing me because they kind of want to see and gauge where I'm at. I feel like that's their mindset. So really, this performance means everything for me. This is my back's against the wall, my job's on the line, and my dreams are on the line. And I can't let anybody take that from me.
Did you watch Ode on the Contender Series? Did you know much about him when you got the name?
I didn't know much about him. I watched that one fight on the Contender Series. I was impressed with his aggression, his ability to finish. He has a good guard, on his back, good arm bars. Obviously, that's where he finished the fight. But he's aggressive on the feet. He's confident. He has his hands down. He has that swag on the feet. So definitely a respect for him as an opponent. But I'm coming to kill, man.
I gotta say, I've interviewed a lot of fighters over the years. Ode Osbourne, you may not ever find a nicer guy on the face of the earth than Ode Osbourne. Do you focus on that stuff? Do you wish you had sort of a point counterpoint kind of a guy, a heel, a villain, so to speak, or does that not even matter? It's all about martial arts and just you're gonna fight him anyways.
No, I share respect, with anybody. I really don't care for, the back and forth and the shit talk. It's just not really my style. I can do it. I think I'm witty. I have like the fast, quick twitch. If I have to, I could say something funny. But like, I respect guys that are just in there to be a martial artist to contribute to the sport in that way. And I'm all about that. If he's a nice guy, that's cool. After we fight, we can shake hands and we could have a friendly relationship.
Not only are you getting back in there on January 18th, now you get to share a fight card with Conor McGregor for the first time in your career. That enhances things quite a bit with the eyeball test, does it not?
Oh, it does. I think this is a great card for me to rebound and resurrect my career. To be on a Conor card is really exciting. I actually thought of a cool story that happened before I was ever in the UFC. I remember I attended Conor's fight against Nate Diaz, the second one in Vegas, and I remember I was coming off a 6-fight win streak. I had that spinning back fist knockout on Looking for a Fight with Dana White. And I found Dana, like I was searching for him. I went down to the floor level. I found him. I showed him the video of my knockout. And I was like, you remember this, Dana? I was like, it's my time. I was like, you got to sign me. I'm ready. And, they kind of looked at it and laughed like, yeah, I remember that. But nothing happened. It took a year later and I was signed. And it was just crazy looking back at that. And now I'm fighting on a Conor card,
That's so crazy, man. Coming full circle.
Yeah,
happens
sure.
so often in this sport too when things come around like that. It's usually good juju when that happens too.
Yeah, exactly. It's a weird energy type of thing, like to look back and remember that, and then all of a sudden put yourself in the present state and be like, look where I am now, from that moment. It's wild.
What would you say is the biggest difference in the Boom Kelleher we saw over a year ago, from the Lineker fight to the Jackson fight to the guy that we're seeing in front of us now to even the guy we're going to see on January 18th?
Not much of a difference, just more mature, just more appreciation for the game. I think, you take things for granted sometimes. You get there, you're in the UFC now. You go through these first 3-4 fights really fast, and you have this vision that you're just gonna win, and fight for a title. And for me, that was my vision. And when I fought Lineker, I knew the UFC was giving me a big opportunity quick. 3 fights in, I'm about to fight a top 5 guy. And if I finish this guy, the only other person to do it is Dillashaw, and I'm right there, for a title contention. So that was my vision, and to have that like setback and that reality get smashed and have to reset was real difficult for me because I truly believed it. I had 100% self-belief. That was my path. That was what was going to happen, and it took time, but I had to reassess and realize that that's not how things work. Sometimes you get set back and you got to redo it all over again. And that's where I am now with the newfound motivation.
Do you feel like you appreciate the sport like you did maybe when you first got into it? Do you feel like kind of almost like a throwback mentality after this time off?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel, because also I'm doing this last camp in Colorado with Team Factory X with Mark Montoya and those guys. I've never done this. I've never gone out of my comfort zone and tried something new to revive my energy and my excitement. And I think this is a key factor for me going into this fight. And just the vibes, like you said, when I first started mixed martial arts, I left my house. I went upstate to Ithaca, New York to train with Team Bomb Squad, and I slept in the gym, and I was a true, living a true fighter lifestyle, trying to make it. And I think now it's like a reset, and I'm doing that all over again.
There's so many gyms out there. There's so many big ones. And Factory X has been, pun intended, a factory for a lot of fighters coming in and getting different looks. I mean, we see guys who own gyms like James Krause. He goes over to Factory X for all of his camps. He's undefeated since working with Mark Montoya. Why did you choose Factory X out of all the gyms you could have chosen?
Well, there was a lot of options. I was looking at maybe California, going over there. I had spoke to Chito Vera, one of my former opponents. I was gonna maybe mix things up over there. He's doing really well. Maybe train with Dillashaw when he's back from injury. And I was kind of weighing out my options. And I had went to Colorado for a week not too long ago to kind of do a trial, and I just loved the vibe. There was a lot of high level guys around my weight. Everything was structured. Everything was under one roof. You show up to strength and conditioning. They take you through the workout based off whether you have a fight, when it is, or whether you don't. So everything was just set up for me, and I've been looking for that structure for years. Back here on Long Island, I've been bouncing around gym to gym trying to find the best work on a daily basis, sending out texts, hey, are you available today? Or, it's just so scattered. So I got there, and the vibe with Mark was just on point. He seems like such a genuine guy, such a good head on his shoulders. And I actually saw an interview with him with UFC News recently, and just the way that his intention is and his perspective is on the game, it really touched me. Like he says, I want to make champions outside the cage just as much as I want to make champions inside. And that hit me hard. So I said, I'm going with Mark Montoya. I'm going to get out there and finish the last 5 weeks.
Man, you're going to get so many different looks over there between guys like Martinez. I know Gutierrez is there, but you also got like some of these up and coming guys like Brandon Royval, who's just a nasty 25er. Yusuf's there too. So you're going to get, and that's perfect for you with a guy like Ode, who's going to bring all these different looks to you.
Exactly. That's another thing that I took into consideration, because I did roll with Brandon Royale, and he was the fastest paced guy I've ever rolled. I was like, I pride myself on my cardio, and I rolled with that guy, and I was like, I might break. Like, I might break through this round right now. Like, he's fast paced, man. It's crazy.
I think this is a good move for you, I got to say. With all this in play here, I know we're about 5 weeks away, 6 weeks away from this fight. How do you see this all playing out? I know we still have some time to prepare and dot some I's and cross some T's, but how do you see this thing all going down?
I see myself getting out there and really, becoming part of that team, and really feeling that old feeling, like I said, where I'm actually involved with a team under one roof and growing all together, and using that momentum to carry it with me in the cage. I think it's been a long time since I had just a really high level MMA coach that I trust. And I think I'm going to find that with Mark Montoya, and that's going to be real powerful for someone like me going into this fight. And I'm going to go in there and display my full potential. I'm upset about my last performance because it wasn't me in there. And I know this because I know how my mindset was walking into that cage. And you can't afford that when you're back against the wall. So I'm going in there 100% with my full potential on the line.
Before we preview UFC 245, because there's so many great storylines heading into Saturday, I have to ask you about this tweet that I saw that you sent earlier today. You hit up Shannon Briggs, the two-time heavyweight champion.
Let's go, champ.
Yeah, I mean, you hit him up, you shot your shot, you asked him if he would walk you out for this fight. What inspired this request? Why Shannon Briggs of all people?
Well, the funny thing is, I've been a fan of him for a while, watching his Instagram live and stuff like that. And, I love the whole champ. I love how he does his thing. Let's go, champ. He'll be in the kitchen, with the blender making these fruit smoothies. I just get a kick out of him and his energy. I love his energy. So one day he was on Instagram Live. I was on the treadmill. I was at LA Fitness running. He clicks to request me live. I got lucky. He just selected me out of the group. So I click it, and we had a conversation. And I was like, let's go, champ. Like, I'm running right now. I'm on the treadmill. And he was going nuts. And I was like, you know what? Like, if I had this guy walking me out, like, just his energy, I feel like it would fire me up. Like, I would perform even better having him behind me. So that was like my motivation to reach out.
Any headway with that? Like, I know you sent it earlier today. I'm sure he gets hit up a ton on social media. Have you gotten any response yet?
No, not yet. I'm kind of hoping he goes live on Instagram, and maybe I catch him and I could have like a face-to-face convo and see, because he might, so many people reach out, he might not even see it or recognize who it is, or so I think if he talks to me live, and I'm like, listen, I'm fighting for the UFC, Conor McGregor's card, like Vegas, like maybe he'll take it serious.
What would you rate the chances between 1 and 10 that this actually happens for you?
I mean, it's a lot of hope, but I would say like a 5. I'll give it a solid 5, yeah. Because he definitely like knows of me, because he's said stuff to me back on the live on his Instagram. Like, he recognizes me as a person that they see the blue check mark. They're like, maybe who's this guy? So who knows?
I have to ask you one thing before we move on to 245, because the talk of the week, and I know I'm sort of an old man, but I'm still kind of tapped into that scene a little bit. I'm an 80s, 90s hip hop kind of a guy. I know you're into the rap game and putting out stuff all the time, but the Nick Cannon Eminem thing, I'm sure you've listened to the diss and all that stuff. What did you think of his attempt here?
I didn't hear that actually. I
What?
saw like a tweet. No, I know. Surprisingly, I didn't follow up on that. Like, I don't watch enough TV. That's why. But I saw like the tweet and inform me like what exactly happened.
So Nick Cannon put out this video, kind of like what MGK did back a while back. He got Suge Knight to jump in on the video with him, and there's like him and like a few of the Wild 'N Out guys, and they just like laid down this 4-minute diss track of Eminem. And Nick Cannon, of all people, the guy used to host America's Got Talents, for God's sake, is calling out Eminem, and then Eminem followed up a couple of tweets. It was pretty bad. I mean, A for effort. Everyone's talking about him, but yeah. I'll let you be the judge. Go on YouTube and just search Nick Cannon diss, and it'll come up everywhere.
Yeah, I gotta check that out, but I gotta say, I don't think Eminem's the guy to like call out on a diss. You know, like this guy will murder the track. You know, like he's one of the best in the game, and his flow is insane, and like just his thought process is really intelligent for rap.
Absolutely. I remember being a high school kid driving around listening to the first album, and I was just like, oh my God, who the hell is this guy? That was the second one. The first one was My Name Is.
Yeah, My
that was a
Name
Slim
Is,
Shady
yeah.
LP. That's a great
I
album.
know. I remember that too, man. That was crazy how that exploded.
Absolutely.